I'd like to welcome everybody to the October 24th Gig Harbor Fire Medic 1 Commissioners Meeting. All those present, if you would rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Ansey,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiltie,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Any upcoming commissioner absences? All right. Seeing none. Any communications?
No communications.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for our October 10th meeting?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Ansey,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiltie,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Vouchers.
I'll move to approve accounts payable vouchers 200157 through 200217, payroll vouchers 200140 through 200156. ACH payroll transfer and wire transfer fees for a grand total of $2,663,876.54 as outlined in the agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ansey,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiltie,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. That brings us to item 7, local 3390. Any report for this evening?
No report.
Thank you. Brings us to Chief's report.
Chief Black is up first. Thank you. Just a couple brief things from me. We're excited that we've hired our new mechanic and he'll be starting November 1st. So we're looking forward to that and bringing the fleet side up to full staffing. So we look forward to that. And then this coming Sunday is an annual Fall Family Fire Department Festival that we're going to be having from 10 to 2. And so we're excited about that and just invite you all to that and come out. Looks like the weather's going to be dry. So we're keeping our fingers crossed with that. And then Chief Meyer may also touch on this, but I'm chief on call. We had a small apartment fire on Saturday. Our crews did a great job. We were a little bit out of position based on a severe automobile accident down in Purdy. So we were partnered with West Pierce for that event, but we were able to put the kitchen fire out very rapidly, do a quick search. There was no one hurt or injured, and been supporting that family that way. So just a brief update. That's Chief on call. And that is the end of my report.
Chief Goldenberg.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just have one quick update. I wanted to let you know that we are entering into a lateral hiring process for Gig Harbor. We had 4 people that put in for retirement next year, so we anticipate their retirements. We currently have 3 vacancies in the organization as well. So we will be looking to potentially laterally hire up to 7 employees to fill those vacancies moving forward. With an expected date of hire of February 1st. So we just wanted to let the commissioners know that that's in process. We're working on a job announcement now. We are also looking in coordination with the local at possible incentives for laterals. If you're out in the social media now and are looking around at other locations, other departments in the county here are offering cash incentives for lateral employees and new hires, so it's very competitive. So we are looking at a number of options to help incent employees to lateral here to Gig Harbor. And so we'll keep you up to date on that, and we'll obviously involve the subcommittee on that, the commissioners subcommittee moving forward in those discussions. So just an FYI.
Chief Meyer.
All right, good evening. Last Tuesday, Gig Harbor personnel attended an after-action review at West Pierce Fire and Rescue for the Fort Steilacoom fire back in August. It's 26 acres. And we just wanted to say thank you to West Pierce for inviting us to that after-action review. Last Thursday, I attended a workshop on reunification at larger incidents, mainly around active shooter type of incidents. It was put on by Pierce County DEM. And the IC, if you remember, there was a shooting outside of Chicago last year called the Highland Park 4th of July parade shooting. And so that IC presented at this workshop. So it was great. It was great to have that hosted by Pierce County DEM. And we look forward to working with them in the future on these type of events concerning reunification. Chief Black covered the apartment fire, so thank you for that. Next Wednesday, November 1st, as part of our ongoing officers training, the training division in partnership with Pierce County DEM and other regional partners, we're going to be hosting an expanding incident training that's going to cover a wildfire event here in Gig Harbor. And we're going to talk about unified command, ICS terminology, and also talk about the discussion about with our partners about evacuation. So that's happening next Wednesday, the 1st. The promotional process, interviews are wrapping it up tomorrow. And so we're excited about that. Some people are just thankful that they're done with everything. So that's great. You see the relief on their faces when they come out of the room after the interviews. Currently, we have 15 lieutenant candidates and 2 BC candidates in the process. So that's wrapping up tomorrow. This week, you'll probably see some social media posts and also some activity down on Stenson and Regatta. The training division is hosting some acquired structure training. So they are doing evolutions. They are not burning, but they're doing evolutions down there. And we're going to be doing that through the end of the month. So activity in downtown Gig Harbor. So thank you for the training division supporting that, and greatly appreciated that the on-duty crews are able to do this type of training. And also thank you to the partnership of these community members coming forward and offering us their structures. It's great, especially when we're going into the building season of the training campus. Also too, happening this week, hosted by our training division and Tacoma Fire, right next door, we have an Instructor 1 class going on. So participants from Gig Harbor and Tacoma Fire are attending the Instructor 1 class. So greatly appreciated on the effort there. And then also too, we're continuing to right size and adjust our response packages. This includes working with South Sound 911, our bordering agencies, and evaluating our level of service internally and externally. We have a meeting scheduled on November 14th for the Commissioners Subcommittee after the Commissioners meeting to give you updates on what we're doing in that arena. So that's on November 14th for the Policy and Procedure Subcommittee Commissioners to give you an update on what we're doing there. So unless there's any questions, that's the end of my report.
My turn. I'll be out of town the 25th, starting tomorrow through the 28th at the Fire Commissioner Conference. When I get back we have the Fall Festival then on Monday and Tuesday. Jen O'Hare from Riverbend is going to be working with the command staff first day on change, and then we're going to spend some time working on next year's work plan. So we'll be coming to you closing out last year's work plan that you approved and giving you an update on everything we've done. And we'll be in the process spending that day on what we're going to do in 2024. Monday, November 6th, I have a PC hit meeting with the other fire chiefs to make our final decisions about where we're going and where we're heading. Are we dissolving, which is pretty complicated that we're learning, and then or is Gig Harbor just going to leave PC hit? But we'll make that final decision on the 6th, and then hopefully bring that to you to ratify before the end of the year is our goal. They touched on everything else. That's all I got, unless you have questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Chief. Any standing committee reports? Seeing any? That brings us to finance report. Crystal.
Hardly legible. Let's see if I can make it a little bigger. Okay, So in terms of the September 2023 financial report, revenues are as expected. They're a little light from a percentage standpoint, but our property tax collections arrive in October. So that is anticipated. In terms of expenditures, we are also as expected, not a lot to mention there. And expenses by division, I'll just highlight from a percentage standpoint, legislative looks a little light. In that area, we are still anticipating our invoice from Pierce County for August election invoicing. So that will arrive probably in the next month or two. Everything else looks as anticipated. Capital bond fund, that area still looks very low in terms of expenditures. I don't know that this was expected, but it is something that we're aware of due to the timing of our current construction projects and the timing for processing with the county. And then on the ending cash, the only highlights I'll mention, right now, our ending cash at the end of September is lower than it was at the end of last year. However, that is also anticipated. This is our the 1 month that we would be significantly using our existing cash flows. We're expecting our property tax collections in October. And that's all I have on the finance report.
Any questions for Crystal? Thank you. I don't have anything for the chairman's report this evening. That brings us to item 12, the bond update.
Bond update, good evening. So we continue to work forward, as Crystal said. Stated, we're still working through with the county. We have permits for 3 and 7. We're finalizing those, the advertisement and the bid documents for that project. We're going to bid it as one. Today we received 2 more minor amendments that we had put in for the training campus. One is on a height adjustment, how it was figured. Another one is just a minor detail we needed to have documented so that we could do it. So hoping for permitting for the training campus by the end of the year. That's always, as I've stated before, the training campus is probably the most complicated of any of the projects we do, because not every day does somebody build a training tower in Pierce County, so it's new to them. So they are going through it very slowly, as expected. Station 51 continues to move along. We went to visit the committee, myself and Commissioner Sudich went down to Lacey Station 34 and took a look at that. That was a Rice Fergus Miller project that was completed in 2020. So literally at the door of COVID, they were moving into it when COVID hit. So we looked at that. It was really looking at layout and finishes within the station. And getting some folks out to look at a newer station and just the flow of it. I think the visit went well. We learned a few things. This afternoon, I had in essence, a Zoom meeting, my weekly Zoom meeting with Rice Fergus, and changed a few more things. They're moving them around. We continue to move forward with 51, and hoping to have that, within next year, ready to go and finalized. I did send out to Commissioner Avina and Commissioner Sudich, just as I get those, since you're on that committee, I just send you those as I get them, some updates just to keep you in the loop. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, we just have a planned visit. I'm still working with Central Kids out in East Pierce to get the committee out to see. Those are newer stations that have been done this year. So those will be coming in the future. Any questions for me?
Got a comment, and I appreciate tagging along to the Lacey station, just to see the new construction. And the division chief or assistant chief?
We had both.
We had both, that's true. But some of the things they showed us they had problems with, I thought, how the heck, it was, to me, basic plumbing. But the end product, at least that I took away, was somebody's got to watch your construction. every day. You can't assume that, the plumbers, electricians, whomever, are gonna do it absolutely right, because they had several problems down there, and it was a nice station.
Yeah, and that's, just where we are is someone's just watching over them and someone's watching me too. So the double checks, hopefully catch all of that, before we get in trouble.
Thank you, Chief. I don't see any items for old business, so that gets us to new business. Item A, fire engines. Chief Black, Crystal.
Yes, thank you. So we had put this into under new business as a way to bring just more information as we are getting closer to being ready to sign that contract for our 5 new engines. So you'll see in your packet there where we're just more of the specifications and just an opportunity for a review to make sure that the board is seeing everything and everything is transparent to you. And so we have a few more things to wrap up kind of on the legal financial side, and then we'll be coming to you specifically looking for approval of that very soon.
A quick question, what do they have, several different, facilities for putting together fire engines? I'm looking at, South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska, Minnesota.
Correct. Yeah, and that has become common as just fire department plants have grown, and they'll find that they'll have one plant that's where they build the chassis, the motor, the cab and everything, and then they'll have another plant that kind of builds the box or the back half. That's not uncommon for both Pierce and Rosenbauer E1 as they grow and find different workplace and where those come from. They like to stay closer to the manufacturers that build the engines. And then so there is a bit of movement that happens for those.
Got a second question, I'll back up. The new mechanic, is he familiar with Rosen? No,
No. So
it would have been nice.
it would have been nice, absolutely. So no, Colin is actually coming to us from Kitsap County, lives up in Kitsap County and works for an agency up there now. So he's given his notice, so we'll let that all run its course, and then he'll be starting with us November 1st. So, but very qualified, we're very excited.
Go from another fire agency, or is it just
Not from a fire agency, but from a facility that does large engine and mechanic type work.
I'd like to say one thing. I kind of look around online to see what other agencies are paying, how long it's going to take. And I want to commend you and everybody involved in this process for us, because other agencies are paying, the quote here is $1 million per engine, which of course sounds like a lot, because it is a lot. But other agencies are paying 1.2. And also our delivery time is 18 months, whereas other agencies are getting quotes of like 57 to 65 months. So I think being able to buy 5 for the price of 4 and having it delivered in 18 months rather than 4.5 to 5.5 years is really good work. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. All right. That brings us to our budget hearing. Crystal.
So a lot of these slides will be very similar. This is the third draft of our budget. Our highlight, our priorities, we'll go over base assumptions, updates to the summary. There are a couple additional slides that provide a little more detail in the higher level summary that we did last time. And then we'll go through the budget timeline, and then there will be a couple other items that are on today's agenda after this presentation as well. listed under new business. Budget priorities, balanced budget is still a GFOA best practice, that our reserve requirements are met, commitments and obligations are met. And as we will note through the slides, incorporate our priorities of our multi-year capital asset. Considerations from our last couple drafts, this does include the first year of the levy lift, as approved by voters in August. And it does include the Pierce County preliminary assessed valuation estimates from September. Structure. This one is the same layout as we had from the previous edition. You'll notice there's a couple other items that have been updated in this edition that we'll go through in greater detail, but the cumulative budget by division is $41.6 million. Same information listed by our expense types as salary, benefits, maintenance, and operations. The two new highlights for this year that you'll notice is our investment in capital and our transfers to other funds. Same information as last meeting. The one thing you'll note, our percentage increase went from 17 to 18% in this preliminary update. For the most part, there was a couple of salary adjustments in this adjustment from the last meeting that changed that percentage. So this is the key one that is significantly, or that is different from our last iteration. Last iteration had $6 million as our net increase. This year, or this meeting, it is 6.2 million. You'll notice our salary and benefits are 2 million in addition from last year. Capital and investment transfers is 3 million, and inflation and contract increases is 1.2. I will note that anytime anything shifts, our reserve contribution also shifts. So if our total budget increases, so does our reserve contribution to meet our 2-month requirement. So under investment and transfers did increase slightly as well. It's kind of hard to see. This includes a similar level of detail that we did through the third draft of last year's annual budget. It doesn't delineate it by division and by department. And has salary and wages, your benefits, maintenance, and operations. The one thing I did highlight a little differently this year is the capital and transfers. So that is our significant investment in our budget in 2024. So you'll see those highlighted here. Under admin, that 1.5 million is mostly due to our contributions to the local program. Those are debt issuance for the FCBA and EMS equipment that we entered into earlier this year. And then if you look down in logistics, we had additional contributions to our facilities that were needed, and then our vehicles. Most of those vehicles were actually already planned and ordered in 2022 that arrived in 2024. This one is very similar, but also has a comparison to the 2023 adopted budget and highlights the changes by the corresponding department and program. Some light reading if you would like, it's for reference material. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those later. For our Go Bond Fund, this is the area where our property tax collections for our bond issuance are deposited and our debt issuance for our bond issuance is paid. It is also where we pay our local program principal and debt for the EMS equipment and the FCBA. So it's $4.6 million for both of those programs for 2024. Capital, this just shows you the capital fund split by expense type. The majority of our capital fund is capital improvements. The capital equipment that you see there is the engines we earlier spoke about. Professional services is that project management support. And then the transfers is displayed a little differently this year. This is also the project management support, and the Chief Johnson's assistant is putting in a different fund, so we'll transfer back to the operating fund. So that's why it's listed as a transfer. Capital, this is the same information but split by location. So to give you an idea of the $24 million that are, I'm sorry, $25 million that are split. Majority right now is through the training campus and then through the corresponding train. Fire station, and then the capital equipment and project management are listed below. I anticipate that the capital in here will change slightly as we move forward and actually go to bid for these projects. So this is with the information that we have at this time for 2024, but I do anticipate, especially over the next 6 months, that this might be adjusted as well. This is the total preliminary budget for all three of our funds. Our operating budget is currently at $41.6 million, debt service at 4.6, capital projects at 25.1, for a cumulative total for 2024 at $71.3 million. Okay, that is all I had for the budget third reading. We are also required to have a hearing for the budget piece of it. And then we also have additional agenda items under new business. This is it for this particular presentation.
Any questions for Crystal? I don't see any, Crystal. Thank you. So we go to the revenue hearing. Next. Okay.
Okay, for the revenue hearing, this is required by state law for any government entity that assesses and levies taxes. So we'll go into greater detail into our revenue for 2024. Here's the applicable state law and this requirement. Here's the kind of highlight for us in our fire district. We have a statutory limit rate of 1%, where our property tax can only increase annually by 1%. There are a couple additional options that we have available to us. We have a voter approved 6-year levy lift, both for fire and EMS. 2024 includes the first year for fire and the second year for our EMS levy lift. These are the different revenue types we have available to us as the district. A couple items that were new for 23 and now into 2024 is the capital excess levy. That is an additional property tax that is levied to support paying the debt associated with our $50 million bond issuance from last year. We have grants and GEMT, intergovernmental. Charges for service are mostly our wildland and mobilization reimbursements and our ambulance transport fees. And then miscellaneous, while a small portion of our budget, but still a contribution, is our investment interest, donations, and sales surplus. For our revenue, this is our operating revenue. So into the general fund, or our general operating fund, is $38 million worth of taxes. Charges for service, like our fire protection services, is $2 million. Intergovernmental at $940. Miscellaneous is our investment interest and investment income. Our donations and sales surplus is $300. And then our transfers, and I just want to highlight, this is a little higher than in previous years. This is the reserve contribution that we had set aside earlier this year for the Medicare and Type 3 that are arriving next year. 830,000 of that transfer is from the reserve fund, and 360,000 coming in from the capital fund to reimburse the wages associated with managing the capital project. Property tax. Our assessed valuation for 23 was 19 billion. 2024, we actually experienced a 1.3% increase at 19.354 billion. We are one of the only organizations within Pierce County that saw an increase. Most of the districts around saw a decrease, and Pierce County as a whole saw a cumulative decrease. This is the levy assessed from our assessed valuation. So for fire in 2024, it is $1.50 for voter approval from August. Last year, or I'm sorry, the current year, 2023, We were at $1.18 and 22.6 million. For 2024, the first year of the levy lift at $1.50 is 29 million. For EMS, we are at year 2 of our levy lift. However, our levy amount is still 50 cents. This is due to our growth or lack thereof for the assessed valuation. So our amount was 9.45 million last year. It is 9.6 million this year. It's still at 50 cents. Some of those increases are due to new construction increases, administrative refunds, and that's why the levy rate still remains at 50 cents. For 2024 capital for our excess levy is year 2 for our excess levy collection. Voters approved an $80 million capital excess levy for the purposes of capital infrastructure. We did do a levy bond sale of $50 million. The one thing I wanted to highlight about this is that the excess levy and the dollar amount collected on an annual basis will align with the amount that is required by the 20-year bond sale. So, for example, last year it was in the $3.9 million range. This year it will be slightly different because that is the exact amount that we need for 2024. So we are assessing the amount needed to cover those debt obligations in the current year. For 2024, our excess levy is 19.2 billion. So our projected excess levy rate in order to fund that debt is 21%. Property taxes, this is a similar format to what we included last year. I did add just an additional year for comparison. So for our expense levy, you'll see that this is the first year of the levy lift. And then you'll see on the capital excess levy, this is year 2 of that new property tax adjustment. This is the levy amount for our property taxes. There are 3 different levies: fire, EMS, and capital, for a cumulative levy total of 42.8 million. This is our levy rate for 2024, 50 cents for EMS, $1.50 for fire, and 21 cents for capital. Some of the other revenues that we have available to us, we have our transport fees. Those are assessed per the fee schedule that was adopted in 2021. We have our contracts for service with schools, the city schools, corrections, and the county. We have our wildland reimbursements. And then we do have some fee-based registrations for our CPR, first aid, and safe center programs. Intergovernmental, we have our grand emergency medical transport. The one thing I want to highlight here, we are seeing a reduction starting in 2024 for the GEMT program. At the federal level, they did outline some additional parameters and what is and isn't allowable from an extent standpoint. So we are including in this revenue and in this budget associated reduction to that revenue reimbursement program. Miscellaneous income revenue is mostly our just investment interest. Here is the revenue summary, including all of our 2024 amounts. We have the property taxes, intergovernmental, charges for service, revenue, and then the transfers in that we highlighted earlier for $47 million. For those that want the additional detail, this is a similar format that we included that has all the different levels of revenue and also includes the 2023 adopted revenues as well. Here is our cumulative total for all of our funds. The one thing I will note on the property taxes, that you'll notice this number is slightly different than the one you saw earlier. The earlier one is the amount of property taxes we will levy in the current year. This is the amount that we are including in the budget. We did assume a very small under collection assumption in the current year. We do have about 0.5% of property taxes that are under collected annually. So it is, from a budget perspective, slightly lower than what you saw in the prior slide. Any questions about the revenue?
Don't see any. Thank you, Crystal.
This one, does require a motion, doesn't it? No, it doesn't.
It requires public, if there is anyone available. from the public.
Great.
Uh,
Since Gary, you probably gotta ask.
There's an attendee named Robert. Out there.
If there's anyone in the public that would like to comment on the revenue hearing, now would be the time. Raise your hand if you're with us virtually, and we'll get you into the meeting. All right, seeing none. Thank you, Crystal. Roll back up here. We have a couple of resolutions. Crystal, if you could walk us through those.
I'm not gonna share my screen. It is included. We have 4 resolutions that are included in tonight's packet. They do not require approval tonight. They are just a first reading of the 4 resolutions will be included during budget adoption. They're through page 88 to 97. They are just your formal resolutions to levy property taxes and adopt the budget, and that we need to send to the Pierce County. There are 4. One that is the actual total budget of the total cumulative property tax levy. Page 91 is the resolution for the fire expense, which does not have a dollar amount, but is listed at the levy rate, which is $1.50 for the first year of levy privilege. Page 93 is the EMS levy resolution, and then page 95 is the capital for the excess levy. So no action is needed today. It'll just be included for action at the next meeting.
Right. Those are due by the end of November. To the county. Questions on any of those resolutions? Sure. Okay. Thank you, Crystal. Does that bring us to surplus?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So last one in the lineup. So resolution 2023-11 surplus equipment. So I am coming to the board asking to surplus 4 pieces of equipment. You should be able to see those in your packet. They are 4 pieces of equipment that are required no longer uses, primarily based on the fact that we're kind of restructuring our organization. We don't have volunteers to respond them in our outline stations anymore. And they have kind of run a little bit of their lifespan. The engine is 20 years old, the tender is 21 years old. So, but hopefully they'll still bring a little bit of revenue in for us and be good pieces of equipment for a different organization. So I am asking that we have approval to surplus these 4 pieces of equipment and would stand for any questions.
Any questions?
These are also from a manufacturer that no longer is in business, right? So I'm assuming that parts are probably a little bit difficult.
That is definitely a big part of it as well. Yes, now the Chevy Kodiak, certainly Chevy is still in business, but they only made the Kodiak for 3 years. And it's gotten extremely difficult to keep that one operating as well.
I move that we approve resolution 2023-11.
Again, roll call vote.
Commissioner Encine,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiltie,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Thank you, Chief Black. We also have time now for open public comment. State your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. Right. Seeing none, anything for the good of the order? Seeing none, any special interest upcoming events? All right, well, I'll move that we adjourn the meeting. Our next regular meeting will be held on November 14th at 5 p.m. Thank you, everybody.